Hello guys and welcome to another limited review video for Battle for Zendikar here on the Nitzahon Magic channel. This is the last of the colored specific limited review videos, although tomorrow a colorless limited review video will be posted. Obviously that won't include devoid creatures who've been in all of these videos because even though they're colorless, you have to have colored mana to play them, and that's obviously relevant. You can't play the colorless guy who has black mana in his cost in your red-white deck, for example. So anyway, let's talk about the best commons and uncommons in green. The best uncommons in green are, I think the third best one is Plated Crusher. Usually for green to have the most success, it has to have some big dumb guy that it can ramp into, because green is always has a ramp strategy, and in this format that's true as well. And if it has something huge and hard to deal with at common or uncommon, then it's in pretty good shape. And green will be pretty strong in this format because there's also colorless Eldrazi that are actually colorless, no colored mana that it can ramp into that are very good. But it also has one of its own colored creatures in Plated Crusher, who's just a big, massive 7 mana, 7/6 with trample and hexproof. Incredibly difficult to deal with. Really, the only way he can be dealt with is with one of the few board sweepers in the format, or by having something bigger in play than a Plated Crusher. And if you're playing your green deck and things are going well, he might be out on turn 5. So that's a little problematic for any opponent. The fact that he has trample and hexproof makes him crazy. I mean, it's a boring text box, of course, but he's a very good card to ramp into. You're going to be wanting to ramp into him and have at least one of him most of the time you're playing a green deck. This is going to be a pretty slow format most of the time, I think, and getting to 7 mana in a hurry won't be that hard for green, partly because of a guy like this, who is a 6 mana 3/3, and when he comes into play, he also brings 3/1/1 Eldrazi Scion creature tokens with him. You can use these to help you ramp into something crazy like a 9-drop on your next turn, or you can just use it to have more bodies on the table and try to go wide on your opponent. But it's a good example of the kind of ramp that green has. Green has its own sort of spells that ramp, like always, but it also has almost either the most or close to the most of the effects that put Eldrazi Scion creature tokens into play. So it has a lot of ways to ramp. And the best green uncommon, I think, is Tajaru Warcaller. A 5 mana 2/1, which, is like, what? The text box better be good, right? And it is. When it comes into play, it pumps your whole team by +2/+2. So if you're going wide with your Eldrazi Scion creature tokens, then you're going to be pretty happy to be playing Tajaru Warcaller. It's also very good in an ally deck, obviously, so it's good in both of green's strategies. Green has a lot of allies, just like white does, and the effect will trigger every time an ally comes into play. So the Warcaller effect, if you're triggering it like every couple turns, your opponent's going to be dead in a hurry, especially if you have a lot of dudes in play. So it's just a very strong effect. We recently had Amprint Tactician in Magic Origins, who was a 4 mana 3/3 that just gave guys +1/+1, and he ended up being a lot better in the format than most people predicted. And I think in this format, where it's even easier to go wide, Tajaru Warcaller will be very good. So the best commons are, at number 3, Snapping Gnarlid, just a 2 mana 2/2 with a little landfall ability. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, he gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Green has lots of ways of playing more than one land in a turn, so he can get bigger. You can also, your Evolving Wilds become extra good in any deck with landfall triggers. And he's a 2 mana 2/2 who can, become a 3/3 on turn 3 with regularity if you play him on turn 2 and quickly create a problem for your opponent. Next, we have Oran Reef Invoker. The Invokers, as I said in the previous video, are all pretty good. An Oran Reef Invoker is one of the better commons in its color. It's a 2 mana 2/2, so it's a bear. And then in the late game, it can turn itself into a 7/7 with trample every turn if you have enough mana. So it becomes kind of a big problem for our opponent. So it's something else to do with your ramp mana in addition to paying the big hexproof trample guy. And I think the best common is actually Lifespring Druid. 3 mana for a 2/1, who can add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. His stats obviously aren't amazing, but they're not awful either. At least he has 2 power. But he's going to be a pretty highly taken card, as are most mana fixing things. And green, I think, is going to be, I'll talk about this more when I do my archetype video, green is going to be the base color for people trying to build a converge deck, a 5-color deck or a 4-color deck. And a card like Spring Druid is going to be the bread and butter of that deck because it can add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. It also allows you to splash more in green. It allows you to just ramp more in green. I mean, it does everything you want green to be doing, while also enabling a number of other strategies. So I think it's the best green common in this format in Battle for Zendikar. So that's what I think about the best commons and uncommons in green. Let me know how you feel about them in the comments. And don't forget to like and comment, as I just said, and also subscribe if you haven't yet. And also, I'm doing a Battle for Zendikar draft giveaway, and don't forget, if you are able to enter that, to do so, as you would be able to win. The first draft I do for Battle for Zendikar, you would win all the cards I draft and all the prizes I win. So that's, there's no reason not to enter that, since you have a chance to get free stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching.